are a deterrent in the sense that every time a man makes a theft, it does not mean his hand is to be chopped off within 2 minutes.
You have no conflict at all in your mind, sir?
None whatsoever.
You find your conscience is clear?
My conscience is clear by 200%.
We think the purpose of this Indian attack now is that they've located General Niaz's new headquarters.
And pressure from Washington was a difficult balance. He also tried to normalize ties with India, but wasn't able to carry it through after he tried to remove Pakistan's Chief Justice. A massive movement in favor of justice Iftikhar showed.
Understanding the extent and influence of the military in Pakistani politics is crucial for understanding the country's political landscape and its relationship with the rest of the world. The military's role in politics has had a significant impact on the development of democratic institutions in Pakistan, as well as on the country's isolation from the rest of the world in recent decades. Hello everyone, welcome back to Edge Capitalism. We analyze how power and value is created in the world. Today's video may blow your mind and what you understand about global politics and why Pakistan shaped Eastern politics with countries like India or the Middle East region. So, let's get started. Pakistan's military has played a major role in the region's politics and security, particularly in the ongoing conflict in Afghanistan and its relationship with India. The military's role in shaping the country's foreign policy has also been crucial in the country's relations with other regional and global powers. The first military coup in Pakistan's history took place in 1958, led by General Ayub Khan. At the time, Pakistan was facing economic and political instability, with a weak civilian government led by Prime Minister Feroz Khan Noon. The military led by General Ayub Khan saw this as an opportunity to seize control of the government and bring stability to the country. On October 7, 1958, General Ayub Khan, and then Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Navy and Air Force, orchestrated a bloodless coup and declared martial law throughout the country. He deposed the civilian government of Prime Minister Feroz Khan Noon, suspended the constitution and dissolved the national and provincial assemblies. The coup was carried out with the support of the majority of the military and was met with little resistance. Following the coup, General Ayub Khan established a new government and appointed himself as the President of Pakistan. He also created a new political party, the Convention Muslim League, which he used to consolidate his power. He ruled as a military dictator for the next decade until his resignation in 1969. During his regime, General Ayub Khan implemented a number of economic and social reforms that aimed to modernize Pakistan's economy and society. He also initiated a process of industrialization and land reforms. He also attempted to reduce the power of feudal lords and landlords and attempted to improve the standard of living of the poor. General Ayub Khan's regime was also marked by political repression and human rights violations. He banned political parties and arrested and detained political opponents. He also suppressed the press and censorship was imposed on the media. The coup of 1958 marked the start of a decade-long military dictatorship in Pakistan and set a precedent for future military interventions in politics. It also marked the beginning of the military's increasing involvement in the country's politics and governance, which has had a significant impact on the development of democratic institutions in Pakistan. In the years leading up to the civil war in 1971, there were growing tensions between the two wings of Pakistan: East Pakistan, present-day Bangladesh, and West Pakistan, present-day Pakistan, over political, economic, and cultural issues. East Pakistan, which was home to a majority of Pakistan's population, felt marginalized and underrepresented in the government and decision-making process, and the government and military were based in West Pakistan. In 1970, general elections were held in Pakistan in which the Awami League, a political party based in East Pakistan, won a majority of the seats in the National Assembly. However, the government in West Pakistan, led by Pakistan People's Party (PPP), refused to transfer power to the Awami League, which led to a political crisis. In March 1971, the Awami League declared East Pakistan's independence and the formation of the new nation of Bangladesh. This led to a civil war between the Pakistani military and the Bangladeshi nationalist movement, which was supported by India. The war lasted for 9 months and resulted in a crushing defeat for Pakistan's military, which was forced to surrender on December 16, 1971. The 1971 civil war resulted in the loss of East Pakistan and the creation of Bangladesh as an independent nation. It was also a significant blow to the prestige and power of Pakistan's military, which had been seen as a symbol of national unity and strength. The war also resulted in a large number of deaths, with estimates ranging from several 100,000 to over 3 million. This event had a lasting impact on Pakistan's politics and society, as it marked the country's first military defeat and exposed the deep-seated divisions within Pakistan. It also reinforced the military's role in politics, as it had to take responsibility for the defeat and the loss of East Pakistan. The military's failure to protect the country's unity and integrity also led to a loss of public trust and further undermined the military's prestige. In the years leading up to the coup in 1977, Pakistan was facing political turmoil, with a weak civilian government led by Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Bhutto's government was plagued by economic problems and political unrest, and had faced opposition from various political groups and parties, including the Islamist parties. On July 5, 1977, General Zia-ul-Haq, the then Chief of Army Staff, staged a coup and overthrew the civilian government of Prime Minister Bhutto. He declared martial law throughout the country, suspended the constitution, and dissolved the national and provincial assemblies. The coup was carried out with the support of the majority of the military and was met with little resistance. Following the coup, General Zia-ul-Haq established a new government and appointed himself as the President of Pakistan. He also created a new political party, the Pakistan Muslim League, PML, which used to consolidate his power. He ruled as a military dictator for the next 11 years, and until his death in 1988. During his regime, General Zia-ul-Haq implemented a number of policies that aimed to Islamicize Pakistan's society and politics. He introduced a number of laws and regulations that were based on Islamic principles, and attempted to impose his own conservative moral and religious values on the country. He also supported the Afghan Mujahideen during the Soviet-Afghan War, which helped to increase the influence of Islamic fundamentalism in Pakistan. General political repression and human rights violations. He banned political parties and arrested and detained political opponents. He also suppressed the press and censorship was imposed on the media. The 1977 military coup marked another turning point in Pakistan's history, as it led to a long period of military dictatorship, further undermining the democratic institutions. It also marked an increased role of the military in the politics of Pakistan, and the establishment of a regime that attempted to impose a conservative and Islamic agenda. Furthermore, it also marked the support of the military to the Afghan Mujahideen, which had a long-lasting impact on the region and the country. Years later, in 1999, Pakistan was facing political turmoil, with a weak civilian government led by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Sharif's government was plagued by economic problems, political unrest, and allegations of corruption. The country was also facing pressure from international community, particularly from the United States, over its nuclear program and its support for Islamic extremist groups in Afghanistan and in the Kashmir region. On October 12, 1999, General Pervez Musharraf, the then Chief of Army Staff, staged a bloodless coup and overthrew the civilian government of Prime Minister Sharif. He declared martial law throughout the country, suspended the constitution, and dissolved the national and provincial assemblies. The coup was carried out with the support of a significant part of the military and was met with little resistance. Following the coup, General Musharraf established a new government and appointed himself as the Chief Executive of Pakistan. He also created a new political party, the Pakistan Muslim League Coup, which he used to consolidate his power. He ruled as a military dictator for the next 9 years until his resignation in 2008. During his regime, General Musharraf implemented a number of economic and political reforms, including a crackdown on corruption, the privatization of state-owned enterprises, and the liberalization of the economy. He also attempted to improve relations with the international community, particularly with the United States, in order to gain support for his government and to secure economic assistance. The 1999 military coup marked the 4th time in Pakistan's history that the military had seized control of the government, further undermining the democratic institutions. It also marked the return of the military rule after a short-lived democratic government of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. The event was widely criticized by the international community, and it led to a declaration of Pakistan's relationship with the United States. The last most important historical event that reinforced the role of the army was the state of emergency declared by General Pervez Musharraf in 2007. Pakistan was facing turmoil, with a growing movement for the restoration of democracy and the rule of law. General Musharraf's regime was also facing increasing opposition from the judiciary, particularly from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Iftikhar Muhammad Chaudhry, who had taken a number of decisions that were seen as a challenge to the military's power and authority. On November 3, 2007, General Musharraf declared a state of emergency throughout the country, citing rising extremism and a deteriorating security situation as the reasons for the move. He suspended the constitution, dissolved the national and provincial assemblies, and imposed censorship on the media. He also arrested and detained a number of political leaders, including Chief Justice Chaudhry and other members of the judiciary. The state of emergency was widely criticized by the international community, and it led to widespread protests and demonstrations throughout the country. The move was seen as an attempt by General Musharraf to cling to power and to undermine the judiciary and democratic institutions. The state of emergency was lifted on December 15, 2007, after the general elections of 2008. The state of emergency of 2007 marked a significant turning point in General Musharraf's regime, as it exposed the weakness of his government and the growing resistance to his rule. It also marked a serious blow to the democratic institutions and the rule of law in Pakistan, which further eroded the public trust in the military's role as a guardian of the country's security and stability. It also marked the military's increasing involvement in the criminal justice system, which is traditionally a civilian domain. For more updates on this topic, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Remember, capitalism is about creating value, not money. See you all soon with more interesting information. Till then, see you.